All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you all are having a good night. Welcome back to another After Dark episode here. This one is by request. This one's called Michael Jordan, the GOAT of NBA at Analytics. That was a tongue twister for me. This one's by Basketball Universe, and we've been covering a lot of videos from Basketball Universe. If you haven't subbed to their channel, I highly recommend it. Great stuff. All factually driven, all numbers. But yeah, we're gonna check this out together. So kick back, relax, let's hang out, let's enjoy this. And yeah, I have no idea what we're gonna see in here, but I'm sure I'm gonna like it. Anyways, as always, I'm gonna link the original video down below in the description if you want to watch it without me, and if you want to watch it with me. All I ask is please hit that like button so this gets out to as many people as possible. We spread the truth about the real GOAT. And yeah, without further ado, thank you very much, everybody. Let's do this.
Michael Jordan has it all. He has a team success portion, 6 titles and 6 finals appearances.
Greatest individual player and the greatest winner of all time, man.
He has the individual aspect covered, 5 regular season MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, 10 scoring titles,
Yep.
1 Defensive Player of the Year award, and countless records. He was a generational talent. He was, and still is, the most marketable athlete in all of sports.
That's still so crazy.
He is also the most statistically dominant player, which includes the advanced metrics. In recent years, sports have become more and more driven by analytics. It has changed the way the game has been played in all major sports leagues. Thanks to these metrics, the game of basketball is more efficient than ever before. Because of this fact, some people believe that today's era is better than any other era of basketball.
My big problem with everything being so analytics focused is that once they crack the code, now everybody plays the exact same way. There's no more specialists anymore. It's everybody playing the exact same way with the same step back 3. It's gotten boring. I mean, it would have been boring if everybody played like Michael Jordan too. It would take away what's special about him. You know, guy like Dennis Rodman or something like would have no place in the league in today's game because he didn't have a jumper. I don't know. To me, it's not as interesting as it used to be.
But what if I told you that the person who has benefited the most from analytics played during an era where these metrics were not taken seriously? That is the case for Michael Jordan. Hold on to your thinking caps because this is about to get nerdy real quick.
Urkel.
To start, what metric will we be using for this discussion? We're going to be using essentially all the metrics that are under each player's basketball reference page. If you search for Michael Jordan, you'll see there's a section for his advanced stats. This is a table that we're going to be using. We're going to disregard the 3-point attempt rate down to turnover percentage, but we'll be using everything else. We'll be looking at all the players from the beginning of the shot clock era, which is the 1954/55 season, to the 2023/24 season, in case you're watching this way down the line. Let's start with win shares. This stat attempts to divvy up credit for team success to the individuals on the team.
Oh yeah, Jordan's gonna crush this then.
Is an estimate of the number of wins contributed by a player based on their offense, defense, and playing time. To oversimplify it, a player who makes a well-rounded contribution on offense and defense will do well in the system. Michael Jordan is known as arguably the greatest two-way player of all time, so he benefits tremendously from this.
See, I don't even know why it's something to argue about, because hands down, who's the greatest? Who's the greatest offensive shooting guard of all time? MJ. Hands down, who's the greatest defender that's a shooting guard of all time? MJ. So it shouldn't be an argument. Not this one, at least.
Stat. Before we get to Jordan's numbers, there's one caveat that we have to mention about win shares. His biggest flaw is that it's a counting stat. This metric benefits the players who are on the court a lot. That's why the top 7 players with the highest win shares for a season belong to only Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain, who regularly play the entire season and average over 43 minutes per game. This is still a very helpful stat, but it should come with context. Let's take a look at the top 20 highest win shares recorded for a season. Michael Jordan is on this list 5 times. The only player with more appearances is Wilt Chamberlain, who has 6 total. Michael's career high came in the 1987/88 season when he earned 21.2 win shares. That is the highest out of any player since the NBA/ABA merger, which is what's considered the modern NBA. But that's not all. He also has the second and third highest for a season. There are 3 times when he earned at least 20 win shares. LeBron James and David Robinson were also able to earn that many win shares, but they've only done it once. Now let's go into specifics on how valuable he was on both ends of the court. Let's start with offensive win shares.
Oh God, this is gonna get good.
If you look at the top 20, Jordan has 5 total appearances. That is more than any other player. His career high came in 1988 when he earned 15.2 offensive win shares. That's the 6th highest overall and the highest since the merger. He also has the 2nd highest for the modern NBA, which occurred in the 1990/91 season. He earned 14.7 offensive win shares. Now what about defensive win shares? This particular stat is dominated by centers.
Yeah, should be.
They benefit the most since they record more rebounds and blocks than any other position. So we're only going to be looking at guards. According to StatHead,
Oh, he's got to be number 1 with guards. Who can compete with him? Dwayne Wade, Gary Payton? But I still think he's going to top it.
he has his 7th and 9th highest ever. If you look at players since the merger, his 1996 and 1988 seasons are the most by any guard. It's no wonder that he's 5th all time in career win shares, despite barely playing over 1,000 games for his career. Now what about win shares per 48 minutes? This one levels the playing field
Okay.
to just the impact of each player.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah, good call with the Kawhi Leonard thing. He could be in
all
this.
played the same number of minutes. Let's take a look at how Jordan fared. He has 3 appearances in the top 11 alone. Shout out to Kareem, who has 3 appearances in the top 5, and also LeBron James, who has 4 appearances in the top 20. There's one more metric that helps evaluate how valuable a player is to their team, and that's value over replacement player rating. This is a box score estimate of the points per 100 team possessions that a player contributed above a replacement level player, translated to an average team and proportional to an 82 game season. It's important to keep in mind that this metric has been used since the 1973/74 season. Unsurprisingly, Michael Jordan has dominated. He has the record, which occurred in his legendary 1987/88 season. He had a 12.5 value over replacement player rating. A player rarely records a rating over 10. It's only been done 11 times.
Jesus.
Out of the 11 instances, Michael has done it 6 times.
Damn.
In fact, he has 6 of the 10 highest for a
Damn.
single season. This all gives us an idea of what Jordan meant for his team every season.
And people just call him a ball hog and stuff, like that was all there was to him. No, man. This one-man machine helped any team win on both ends of the court.
Nobody in the modern NBA has been able to bring as much value to a team as Michael Jordan
Nice bank.
has. Now let's move on to box plus minus. What is this stat? This uses the player box score information, position, and the team's overall performance to estimate the player's contribution in points above the league average per 100 possessions played. According to Daniel Myers, the developer of Box Plus Minus, the league average is defined as 0.0, meaning 0 points above average or below average. For example, a value of plus 5 means the team is 5 points per 100 possessions better with the player on the floor than with the average production from another player. He mentions that a plus 10 is considered an all-time season.
Nice.
There have only been 30 instances that a player has recorded a box plus minus over 10.
Let me just check the date of this video. 3 weeks ago. Okay, so this is like up to date. Perfect.
And guess who has the most? That's right, Michael Jordan, who had 7 total. His career high came in 1988
Goddamn.
when he recorded a 12.96 box plus minus.
And a plus 10 is considered like an all-time season. Jeez.
The same thing can be said.
How many times did he do it?
7 total.
7 total.
His career
Okay.
box plus minus.
God damn.
The same thing can be said about offensive box plus minus. He has 6 appearances in the top 20, which is the most out of any player. His career high came in the 1989/90 season when he posted a 9.09 offensive box plus minus. He also made his mark in defensive box plus minus. In 1988, he posted a 4.16 defensive box plus minus, which is the 10th highest ever.
Wow.
That's the second most by any perimeter player behind Nate McMillan, who has
Dude, as a guard.
an all-time record. Now we move on to PER, or Player Efficiency Rating. According to his developer, John Hollinger, PER sums up all a player's positive accomplishments, subtracts the negative accomplishments, and returns a per minute rating of a player's performance.
It's like sorry. It's kind of like simple business, like simple finance metrics. How much did you make? How much were your costs? What's your profit?
Here's that this stat favors big men more, as they make up 56% of the top 50 highest PER for a season. But Michael made his mark here too. He and Steph Curry are the only perimeter players to reach the top 20. Curry only has 1 appearance, while Jordan has 4. That is the most by any player, along with Nikola Jokic. His career
Nice.
high came in 1988 when he had a 31.71 PER, which is also the 6th highest ever. Speaking of efficiency, his true shooting percentage is also very noteworthy. This stat takes into account shooting percentages from 2-pointers, 3-pointers, and free throws.
Considering that he ended his career at like 49.9 or something, and he was, I mean, to just make it simple, the majority of his career he was above 50%. This should be cool.
He's nowhere near the all-time list, but we do want to mention where he ranks among volume scorers. There have only been 30 times in NBA history that a player recorded a 60 true shooting percentage while averaging over 30 points. Michael Jordan did it 4 times, which is the most ever. In his historic 1988 season, he averaged 35 points while having a 60.3 true shooting percentage. That's the second highest points per game average while posting those shooting numbers behind the 2019 season from James Harden.
Wow. Okay.
He averaged 36.1 points with a 61.6 true shooting percentage. The numbers say that Jordan is the most efficient volume scorer ever.
Yep.
The last stat that we're going to look at is usage rate. This is an estimate of the percentage of team plays used by a player while they were on the floor. So why are we looking at this stat? Because throughout all of NBA history, there's only been one player to lead their team to a title while posting a 34 usage rate percentage. Jordan accomplished this in 1993.
Yeah. I personally think this was his peak, because this was the perfect blend of young athletic Jordan and then older fundamental Jordan. 93. And he ended up putting up 41 points per game against my Suns, because my Suns were really good that year. But Jordan, this was his peak in my opinion, by far.
But that's not all. Out of all the players in the top 100 with the highest usage rate for a single season, no one has been able to win a championship in the same year. But Michael Jordan did it a total of 5 times.
God damn.
For him to be that involved in the offense and to remain efficient while not hurting his team is a skill that very few players can master. But to also deliver a title, only Jordan has been able to do it throughout all of NBA history.
That's why y'all remember back in the actually I'll save this for the end. We're almost there.
So what do all these numbers tell us? Should this be the determining factor to crown a player the GOAT? I don't think so. I believe it's important to see the whole picture, and the advanced metrics should play a role. It confirms how great a player was. The advanced metrics certainly do that for MJ. In a world driven by analytics, the numbers say that no one had a better prime than Michael Jordan.
Agreed.
It's just another advantage that the GOAT has. But what about you all? What role should the advanced metrics play in the GOAT conversation? Is there a certain stat that proves to you that Jordan or any other player is your GOAT? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for...
I mean, to me, it's one extra layer. Like, it's just one extra layer to prove the point of who is the greatest of all time. But without the advanced metrics, the eye test didn't fail us, and the basic stats showed us what was going on. And then the amount of success it led to. So all of those three things to me was already enough to, if you know the game of basketball, you know who the GOAT is. You just combine those three things and boom, you got your answer. But the advanced metrics, yeah, they just help hammer it down. It's the extra nail in the coffin. What I was going to say earlier is, do you guys remember before Jordan ever won a championship where all the critics were saying that a volume scoring guard could never lead a team to a championship? That was the whole narrative. Well, it turns out he did it multiple times. And according to those advanced metrics at the end there, yeah, he was that involved and still won the championship 5 times. And that was just at that peak. He won a championship 6 times, but according to that metric, that was interesting. That was just damn interesting. It's not even like, at this point, like, I can't even be surprised anymore. The man was really just that good. He was just, I remember having a conversation in the comments, and I stand by it because we were talking about top 10s. And, my stance was like, I said the distance between 1 and 2 is far greater than the distance between 2 and 10 for me. But like, there's like an ocean in between number 1 and number 2. Like, Jordan is just that far ahead of everybody in my mind. But yeah, let me know. Do you guys remember that when everyone was calling out, if you're old enough to remember this, when everyone was calling out in the media, they were calling out Jordan saying, you'll never win like this. You can never win being the lead scorer as a guard and expect success. You need to give it down to a big man. And in such a big man era, that's another thing that makes it so impressive. He had Bill Wennington and Luke Longley as his starting centers during his 2 3-peat runs. You weren't supposed to win back then without a big, awesome center. But he did it. He did it over and over and over again. All right, everybody. I think that's going to be it for me tonight. Thanks for hanging out. I had a good time, as I always do. I'll see you all in the comments later. But yeah, shoot this video a like if you haven't yet. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, have a wonderful night. Be safe. Stay cool if you're somewhere hot like I am. And yeah, go enjoy your summer night, okay? Be with your loved ones. All right, have a good night, everyone. Peace out.